Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rekal Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching this truth in sincerity. And a shout out to Yakim that's out there on the four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. As you know, this being the year of prophecy, we are starting to see both sides of the prophecy concerning Isaiah chapter 17. In particularly, I've been focusing a little bit more on verse 3, but we know that this burden of Damascus is also in the midst of everything. So I'm going to read first out of Isaiah chapter 17 and verse 3, because what Donald Trump is doing, aka, you know, the mouthpiece of the New World Order, because all he is a puppet. So, we know that the fortress will also cease from Ephraim, the kingdom from Damascus, and the remnant of Syria. There will be as the glory as the children of Israel, saith the Lord of hosts. So, you know, the fact that Donald J. Trump is now putting his moves on the northern kingdom, you know, in that day it shall come to pass that the glory of Jacob will wane, and the fatness of his flesh will grow lean. It shall be as when the harvester gathers the grain and reaps the heads with his arm. It shall be as who gathers the heads of grain in the valley of Ephraim. Modern day Ephraim, you could say, is right there in Mexico, you know, Issachar. So, you know, pretty much most of the northern kingdom is right there. They are the Latin tribes, you know. And so, what's happening? The hammer of the whole earth, Babylon the Great, is coming against. You know, chapter 18, woe to the land shadowed with buzzing wings, which is beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, which send ambassadors by the sea, even in the vessels of the reed of the waters, saying, go swift messengers to a nation tall and smooth of skin, to a people terrible from their beginning onward, a nation powerful and treading down, whose land the rivers divide, which of course is talking about America, Babylon the Great. So the hammer of the whole earth is coming down hard, especially on the northern kingdom, Ephraim, you know, which also we know that eventually they're going to destroy Syria, Damascus, you know, and that's going to turn the whole world against America, Babylon the Great. 2nd Ezra chapter 15. Speak in the ears of my people the words of the prophecy that I will put in your mouth, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and cause them to be written on paper, for they are trustworthy and true. Do not fear the plots against you, and do not be troubled by the unbelief of those who oppose you, for all unbelievers shall die in their unbelief. And that's what's happening now. They don't believe in this word in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. They still would rather cling on to stretch Christianity. They still have Caesar Borgia. They still worship Mother Mary. They still worship all these other gods. They hang on to those philosophies, but they won't gather this word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So what other choices does Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai have, except to send the sword after them? And that's why all these things are about to take place. We know that the military is about to open fire. And yet at the same time, all these nations are gathering against Babylon the Great. Donald J. Trump has just now reimposed new sanctions against Iran. It's supposed to be the hardest hitting ever, and these nations are standing up against him. So we know that America, Babylon the Great, is about to go down. Not to mention, you have more and more chariot sightings, aka UFO sightings, happening everywhere. So the day of our salvation is closer than when we first believed. So we just got to hold on to this, you know. And that's just it, though. As they go one more time, take the fortress from Ephraim, the sword comes after. We know that we're almost near the end, because we know that the microchip, the mark of the beast, is being implanted on them, so they can track everybody that comes in and everybody that goes out. That's what's happening. And we know that because that's what they were doing in them Walmart centers. That's what the practice of Jade Helm was all about. So we're starting to see a lot more of this unveil. And the fact that there's more and more chariots means that we're that much closer. So for that, I want to say, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rekal Kadash, Brakatah. Hope these next videos are edifying. Shalom.
President Trump promoted the sanctions, claiming these are the strongest sanctions ever imposed by the U.S. Administration officials are expected to provide even more details on Monday. Let's bring in Trita Parsi, founder of the National Iranian American Council. He joins us now from Virginia. So, Trita, President Rouhani recently told his nation that the U.S. will cry for a few days and then eventually leave the region. So is he basically saying that Iran is there to play the long game, telling everyone to wait it out? And what kind of reaction can we expect on Monday from Iran?
Yes, and the long game here is not necessarily particularly long, because the calculation on the Iranian and the European, as well as the Chinese and Russian side, appears to be to just wait out another 2 years, because they're calculating that Trump will be a one-term president. And if they can just keep the Iranians in that deal for that long, making sure that Iran gets at least a little bit of the sanctions relief that it was promised, then they're hoping that the next American administration will come to its senses and try to get back into the agreement.
Iran has worked around sanctions before. What do you think is different this time? We know the EU and other countries, like you mentioned, China and Russia, are showing support. So how big of a role are they playing in softening the impact of these sanctions?
It remains to be seen, because the special vehicles that the Europeans have been working on in order to be able to enable trade outside of the American-controlled financial channels has not been put in place. It's not entirely clear. What is quite interesting is the political will on the European side to really defy the Trump administration. That, I think, has taken quite a few people by surprise. And if that political will is matched by technical skills and innovation, then the Iranians may very well be able to handle these sanctions because of the support that they will be getting from the other great powers.
We know there are some exemptions, half a dozen or so countries. Going forward, is this really a transition period for them, or will some of those countries, you think, continue doing business with Iran?
Their intent is to try to do business with Iran, because we have to keep one thing in mind. The Chinese, the Russians, the French, the Germans, the Brits, and the Iranians have all continued to live up to this agreement. The only country that is violating it, that is cheating it, is the United States. The other countries, for good reasons, are not in the mood of punishing Iran for actually having lived up to its obligations. So there is that will to try to make sure that trade is remaining in place despite these new difficulties that the American government is setting up, in order to make sure that the nuclear deal, which is a critical agreement, survives all of this.
And Trita, that being said, Iran holding up its end of the deal, how does this impact U.S. dealings with the DPRK on its nuclear issues there? We know that the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, is meeting his counterpart on Monday ahead of Tuesday's election, so a lot going on. Just your take on that part of the equation.
Well, certainly no country is looking at the Trump administration as something that it is now, an administration that keeps its word, honors previous American agreements. And what we have seen so far is a lot of symbolics between the United States and North Korea. We have not seen anything of concrete measure that actually can last, not just for a couple of weeks or for a couple of months, or even for the lifespan of this administration, but that has the capacity of living on even when Trump no longer is in the White House.
Trita Parsi, always great to have your take. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Aseguren esta puerta, cierren esta puerta. Cuando arranca, entra al aire. Ha sido difícil. Sí. He caminado bastante, pero la gente es buena y a veces nos da ride y a veces nos han ayudado también hasta con los pasajes en los buses.
Pero siempre vamos a seguir y vamos para Tijuana, siempre o en busca de un empleo, de una vida mejor, pero supuestamente allá nos van a darnos permisos para poder trabajar allá.
Shalom, Kol Halal Yahweh Shem Shai Bahashem Vakar Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutations to all my fellow laborers that are doing this work in truth and sincerity. To the confusion of faith joined into our ranks. The hopefully elect that are scattered among the heathen. The Akwaf that are listening and learning. We are the Hebrew Israelites by blood, by race. The people of the Bible, that are the people that are spoken of in the Holy Bible, which the covenant was made with. All right, who are melanated people. We are not associated or affiliated with any black so-called organization. All right. There is no such thing as black people, nor is there any such thing as white people. People are different shades of brown and different shades of red. And the so-called white man are the red people spoken of in the Bible, which is the nation of Edom, the nation, the Edomites, sons of Esau, who are the only people in the Bible that are promised no mercy from the Most High. All right, with that being said, we're going to get into the lesson. This is a lesson inspired by the brother Ratazawanya, or we affectionately call the mighty Saint Benji, in my camp. And he did a video, and I watched it, and then it kind of, you know, the spirit jumped on me to do this one. And it's just, and it's going to be called The Men of Sin Revealed. And I'm going to start with Psalms 18 and 30. All right. And as I do so, I think I'm going to let this video play. All right. As you can see the images in the background. Let me turn the sound down a little bit. All right. Yeah, and then this is not my music. This is not my video. This is a video called The Moors in Europe, Rise of the Dark Knights, and I'm only using it to prove a point. All right. Historical truth. All right. And for no other reason. I'm not profiting from this or any way whatsoever. You know, unless, you know, edifying it said we're supposed to feed the sheep, and that's exactly what I'm doing. All right. And it's even give you the names of some of the characters and where these people and who they are and where they are. So these images are images of so-called black people that was all over Europe, which is undeniable evidence, proof, factual, undeniable evidence of their presence in Europe during medieval time in the Dark Ages. All right, and many of them proving that they were in positions of rulership. All right. So no matter what the Edomite says, the evidence is overwhelming against them in this fact. All right, you can't deny the facts. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a scripture. This is Psalms 18 and 30, and it says, "As for power, his way is perfect. The word of Yahweh is tried. He is a buckler to all those that trust in him." The word of the Lord is a shield, man. And it's a shield from the evils of Esau. It's also a shield from their lies. As you can see the man on the screen, that's evidence of royalty and wealth. All right. The so-called Negroes who were, and many of the Moors who are also so-called Negroes who were all Israelites. All right. The only difference between them is that the Moors had accepted Islam and the Israelites clung to the Bible. All right, and they will call themselves Christians at the time. Read Acts 13 and 1. Okay. But you know, Esau changed everything, and they hid the truth. All right, they iconoclasm. They revised, you know, things. They changed things, and they even changed the word of the God, of the Most High God. You know, the definitions. We're gonna cover all that. So let's go to Revelation 22 and 18, and it reads, "For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book, if any man shall add unto these, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book." Look at how many Edomites are dying from opioids and suicide and all the different diseases that are happening that they can't explain. All those women that died from drinking water a couple years back. All the children with these flu-like symptoms that's turning into them being paralyzed. The outbreak of measles among the Amalekites, you know, both in the land of Israel and in their areas in Brooklyn where they dwell. All right, and I love the way the evidence against them is just rolling across the screen non-stop. And this is Revelation 22 and 19. "And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city from the things which are written in the book." All right, so we asked ourselves the question: how did Esau do this evil? Well, with revisions, the changing of books, these icons. When you look at these icons, all the dark images were taken off of them, and you just see the images without the color. Okay, but these are all the originals. The coats of arms of the families of Europe, of the noble and the ruling families of Europe. And this is the evidence presented. And you're still going to have some Edomite write some stupid comment, the Moor of Scotland. All right, matter of fact, there's been, I remember reading about the black hordes of Scotland. You know, these were the families of King James they were talking about. They were called the swarthy or the dusky hordes of Scotland, man. All right, but yeah, with revisions, iconoclasm, newspeak, racist theories pushed as truth, like the Hamitic theory, Darwinism. You know, where they took Caucasoid, Mongoloid, and Negroid and tried to match it up to Shem, Japheth, and Ham. Okay, this is what Esau was doing, man. All right, the letter J to keep the name hidden. All right, so let's grab another quick scripture. Then I'm gonna show some evidences in the meaning of words and some of the things that they did. This is 2 Thessalonians 2 and 8, and it reads, "And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord hath consumed with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming." Man, and Esau's been revealed, man. And how is he destroying them? He's destroying them by the mouth of his prophets, man. Because the word is like a two-edged sword, man. All right. But yeah, going back to that letter J, the letter J did not exist until 1634. So that's a purposeful destruction of the name. Even in Christians, they'll tell you that the Lord's name is that the Most High's name is Yahweh, which is a Yiddish-based way of saying it. All right, but then they'll still turn around and say Jesus. So they just don't want the name of Yahweh Shai being pushed, man. Quite simply. All right. This is Psalms 30 and 4, and it reads, "Who have ascended up into heaven, or descended? Who have gathered the wind in his fist? Who have bound the waters in a garment? Who have established all the ends of the earth? What is his name, and what is his son's name, if thou can tell?" So the Lord is challenging you to know his name. Why would he question you what his name is if it was written in the book? Because it is written in the Bible, but it's written in code. It's written in the pure Hebrew. When you look it up in the blue letter, all right. When you go to the Greek, to the New Testament, it doesn't say Jesus, but Christians, you wacky tacky Christians, aren't taught this truth, man. All right. And like I said, this art and these images, man, are unrefutable truth, factual truths, all right, of dark melanated people who were the ruling class people, all right. And you can see him; he's kind of light skinned with the fro, because his mother more than likely was an Edomite, all right, because you know the Jake were the ruling class people, man. And the Edomites were serfs when they started coming down out of the Caucasus Mountains, because that's, I mean, you think about it, man, that when the plague started taking Jake out and killing them off, that's how Esau came back into power. All right, he was chased up into the mountains. That's pursuant to Job the 30th chapter, man, and they began to come back down out of the mountains and come out of hence the name Caucasian. And then they eventually came back into power. In 1492, they came fully back into power, man. All right? You can see that's a Negro king with a fro, man. It probably was King Richard. All right? But as I said, the evidence is overwhelming, man. It's just simply overwhelming. So let's look up that word revision. All right? Which led me to the word reformed. And I'm going to start in this Webster. It's kind of hard to see it. But it's the Roget's Thesaurus, 1931. All right, copyrighted 1931. All right, and it's a thesaurus. You know, the thesaurus gives you synonyms. So I looked up the word reform, and these are the words that came up: remodel, reclaim. That stood out to me when you think about the Renaissance. They were reclaiming, regeneration, and then they got, that means improvement. So it wasn't. So they try to, instead of telling what the word really means, they put improvement on there. So instead of trying to use these artifacts, they decided to improve it by putting up Edomite images. You see, all right, recast, all right, reshape. All right, so they recasted it, reshaped it. So when they show their movies, when they show their books and all their drawings, they were drawing all the people of Europe and have brainwashed the world to think that the Edomites that live in Europe now are the original inhabitants and they've always been there. But I've got plenty of books and I've done plenty of sit-downs where you know, reading the information that were put up by Edomite scientists of the people that they found in graves all through the land when they were there. People like this one right here, you know, like the one we're looking at now. These images and the appearance of them. You all right? So now I'm going into the Winston Simplified Dictionary Encyclopedic Edition 1933. All right? And I'm looking up the word now. What's my first? Revise. So let's read it. And it reads, revisiting, Latin, again, to see, to go over and examine, or correction, change and correct, as to revise manuscript. So what manuscript were they revising? The Bible, dictionaries. That's why you want to get truth out of dictionaries, encyclopedias, you have to get the really old ones. The new ones have all been revised. I mean, they've been changed to fit the narrative. Okay? Reform, to review or revision. Print, a proof containing corrections made in form of proof. So how you going to correct what you're looking at on the screen? How you going to read? What you do is you take it. They would throw chemicals on paintings, or they would completely destroy them, or try to knock the noses and the lips off of certain statues. When you go back to that first image of Saint Maurice in Germany in the 13th century, which is actually, I believe, is older than that. They just put that 13th century on it, but they would, you know, try to destroy and hide these images, man. But that's, the Lord left so many of them there, they couldn't even get to them all. You know, that's Psalms 85 and 11, I believe. Psalms 85 and 11. Let's go read that.
So get ready.
Yes, and it reads, truth, Psalms 85:11. Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down upon heaven. So when they dig up, and present these relics, the truth is springing out of the earth, because there's nothing they can write or say to combat this truth, man. The way they combated this truth is just simply by hiding it and not showing it or trying to destroy it. But like I said, the Most High left so many, so many of these statues and these images, these paintings all over Europe, coins, that you can't disprove it, man. You can clearly see that is a so-called Negro man, Esau lied and said he was everyone. He was the Knights, he was the Vikings. No, they weren't. They painted themselves that with Hollywood. That's the lies they taught here in America. Okay? It's going to be hard to enslave the Israelites if you'd have told them who they really were. That guy, that kind of looks like a Viking right there, man. That long ponytail, that long braid. So that word revise also brought forth the word reform. So let's look that word up. To reform. Even in its very meaning back, and form. They reform the truth, man. All right, this is reform. Latin, again. To form, to change into another and a better form. As Gregory reformed the calendar. All right, and does the scriptures not say that they would change the times? The Esau would not change the times and day. That's what they did, man. All right, to make better by removal of faults or abuses, as the reformed courts to correct or put an end to. They put an end to the truth of Israel, as you see on the screen, and put their truth up. All right, that they were the knights, they were the holy people. They're the Anglo-Saxons. All a lie. It's all a lie. All right, to induce, to abandon an evil course or conduct, to give up evil which is good, become better, change for the better, removal for some evil or abuse, also instance in some amendment. Amendment means to change. A change from evil to an upright character. So that's why they named themselves white and named you black. Black means wicked, evil, dark, and white means pure. In 1681, they started referring to themselves as white in law, and it spread across the whole world. All right, and then with Hollywood and their media and then their books, they push forth those lies, man, continually. Okay. Let's look up that word recast now. It says recast. It says recast, to plan or lay out anew, to mold or cast again, to compute again. So Esau just sought to change the truth into a truth that better suited his Edomite superiority, his red superiority. All right. And through the power of Yahweh Shem Shai, he has been revealed. He has been destroyed. So with that, I hope this was an edifying, that right there, lesson. Right? And all praises, glory, and honor be unto Yahweh Shem Shai, by Shem Rukak Wadash, Wa Abad Babal.
والله طوفت يعني جسم قومش الشاقة في الحلة علشان تحسون كلش قوية.
North Korea has threatened to reinstate the country's nuclear program should the U.S. continue with its economic sanctions against Pyongyang. The North's foreign ministry said Pyongyang will seriously consider reverting to the former state policy aimed at building nuclear weapons. Now, the ministry noted in a statement that improvement of relations is not compatible with sanctions. Pyongyang urged Washington to display corresponding replies to the North's conciliatory measures instead of making what it called gangster-like demands. North Korea accuses the U.S. of wanting a complete annihilation of its nuclear program without giving any concrete security guarantees. Pyongyang has also warned that Washington's confidence-destroying measures will negatively impact denuclearization talks. The U.S., however, insists that sanctions will remain until Pyongyang implements complete denuclearization of the peninsula. Let's cross over to Jennifer Cheng, Press TV's correspondent in Seoul. Well, Jennifer, tell us a reaction that you're hearing in South Korea about what the North Koreans are saying. I think most people looking from the outside in would say that's a pretty logical response right now. They're basically saying, it's a give and take. We cannot get rid of all of our nuclear weapons and still be under sanctions at the same time. Tell me, what is being said about all of this in Seoul?
Well, here in South Korea, there's a great deal of dismay. Most people now have sort of adopted the attitude that the South Korean President Moon Jae-in, whose policy of engaging North Korea has been supportive of nuclear disarmament talks between the U.S. and North Korea. And in fact, the South Korean president got the U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un to hold the first U.S.-North summit in Singapore in June on the issue. They pretty much agree that the South Korean president's approach is the correct approach. Now, right now, the U.S. and the North are about to hold high-level talks. The U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is scheduled to meet his North Korean counterpart, The name has not been specified, but many believe this will be the vice chairman of the ruling Workers' Party, Kim Yong-chol, and that the talks will be held in New York after the U.S. midterm elections next Tuesday. And the feeling in the U.S. government is that there will be a public backlash if a second Trump-Kim summit does not result in more concrete results than the first summit did in Singapore. Since then, most agree that the talks between the U.S. and North on the North's denuclearization have stalled. And so the U.S. is ratcheting up pressure on North Korea, despite the North's protests that it's not acceptable for the U.S. to continue the sanctions when it has been taking steps to denuclearize by pledging to dismantle its missile engine testing facility near the Chinese border, the satellite facility, and also the dismantlement of its Punggye nuclear testing site in May. So now, right now, the U.S. is seen as ratcheting up pressure on the North ahead of these high-level talks. They said they would reinstate on Monday, that's tomorrow, local time, the drills, the U.S.-South Korea joint drills, which President Trump had pledged to suspend when he met North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in June. Okay. And so this is also expected to draw a backlash from the North, as well as being seen as pressure on the North to denuclearize. The talks are not going well. The U.S. Special Representative for North Korean Affairs was appointed by Pompeo as a special envoy, was here in South Korea twice in late October last month to hold talks with his South Korean counterpart to try to narrow the gap between the South Korean government and the U.S. government. The South Korean government is making the U.S. not demand right now that the North declare its nuclear weapons.
Well, it will be interesting, Jennifer. It will be interesting to see what happens. And actually, it seems like between Seoul and Washington, now there is a divide. We're watching, of course, this situation very closely. Thanks so much for bringing us the latest out of Seoul, South Korea. Press TV's Jennifer Chang.
Shalom, Apostle Ha, coming back at you with the truth, giving all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. And I'm going to entitle this U.S. and Iran are about to go to war. You know, like I said in our previous videos, this war of Armageddon will not take place until the mark of the beast, which is the microchip, is made mandatory throughout the whole planet Earth, and the majority of people will get that chip. Anyway, this is an article from oh, and by the way, today's date is November 5th, 2018, and what you think of is the gunpowder plot when Guy Fawkes or Guy Fawkes wanted to kill a King James, the famous King James, or the King James Version Bible. That's the King James we're talking about, which he was an Israelite, and that whole gunpowder plot was featured in the movie V for Vendetta, and that movie came out, and everybody was cheering for the guy with the mask, but he was really the bad guy. Anyway, this is November 5th, 2018 year prophecy. Also in the news is Trump declaring sanctions, bringing sanctions against Iran, which sanctions were cut because of that deal that they made to dealing with the Iran's missiles so they had made a deal. This was back in, I believe it was 2016. Anyway, all bets are off. You know, Trump bringing sanctions against Iran is going to cause Iran to go back to building these missiles, building their war machine. But ultimately, what Trump doesn't understand, and the elite don't understand. They understand, but they're just proud and hard-headed, and they think they can pull a fast one on the Most High. This is the Most High's chessboard, and he's playing both sides of the board. You know, he's controlling everything. Anyway, let me go and read this article. This is from the Seattle Times, which, you know, this is not it's an accepted newspaper, I'll say. Anyway, it says nation and world. It says Iran president warns of war situation as sanctions resume. It says combo. The this combination of two pictures show U.S. President Donald Trump left on July 22nd, 2018, and Iran's President Hassan Rouhani on February 6, 2018. The Trump administration is announcing the reimposition of all U.S. sanctions. All U.S. sanctions on Iran that had been lifted under the 2015 nuclear deal. Okay, that was during the Obama administration, and that nuclear deal went down during the Obama administration. It says the Trump administration is announcing the reimposition of all U.S. sanctions on Iran that had been lifted under the 2015 nuclear deal. It says, and I'll read from a paragraph here and there. It says, and if I remember, I'll leave the link in the description box. It says Tehran, Iran, AP, which stands for Associated Press. Iran greeted the reimposition of U.S. sanctions on Monday with air defense drills and a statement from President Hassan Rouhani that the nation faces a war situation. Matthew 24, Luke 21 wars. Matthew 24, Luke wars and rumors of wars. Raising Middle East tensions as America's maximalist approach to the Islamic Republic takes hold. Let me skip a paragraph. I just wanted to. Okay, right here it says Rouhani. There's a couple of paragraphs down. Rouhani, meanwhile, pledged to government officials in comments aired on state TV that Iran, I might have to start watching Press TV now, would overcome the sanctions. We are in the war situation, Rouhani said. We are in the economic war situation. We are confronting a bullying enemy. We have to stand to win. So based on what the president of Iran is saying, that they're ready to go to war, and you know they're going to be backed by Gog and Magog. So these prophecies are coming to pass. It goes on to say, he further stepped up the rhetoric comparing Iran's situation in the 1980s war against Iraq. Dictator Saddam Hussein with the current one and President Donald Trump's move to reinstate U.S. sanctions. Now what I did was I went to Google and I put in the Middle East war. I think I put in Middle East war and Bible, and what popped up was openbible.info topics Middle East war, or the Middle East war, and it gave me a handful of scriptures, Matthew 24 verse 22, and this is in the English Standard Version. It says, and if those days had been cut short, if those days been shortened in the King James, and that's actually talking about 70 AD. Which we apply it to now too, because when this war comes to pass and the Most High doesn't come to deliver us, we would all be destroyed. This is Zechariah 14 verse 12. This is also out of the ESV, because I'm reading from this actual, I mean, we read it from the King James, but it says, and this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will strike all the people that wage war against Jerusalem. Now this site is pro-Israel. They don't realize that it's talking about us, the so-called Negroes, West Indian, Puerto Rican, Haitian, Dominicans of Indian and Negroid descent, the Latin tribes, Gad, Reuben, and so forth, that this is talking about any nation that came up against any of the tribes. The Most High is going to destroy them with these missiles. It goes on to say their flesh will rot while they stand upon their feet, and the King James said their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and her tongue shall consume in their mouth. There should be a great tumult, and so forth. Okay, Revelation 3 verse 10. And like I said, when I was going through these scriptures, some of these scriptures don't have nothing to do with this Middle East tension, but I was surprised that they didn't mention the scripture or cite the scripture, Ezekiel the 38th chapter, and that hits it. That's the only scripture you really need, because it mentions Iran, which are the Persians. All right. They mention Daniel 11 verse 1 to 45, which has absolutely nothing to do with current prophecy. Daniel 11 chapter was fulfilled before Yahushua was even on the scene. And if you knew the breakdown of the scripture, you would understand that. So Esau doesn't even understand the scriptures. They need to start watching us more. I mean, they hit on some of the scriptures correctly, but they go off. Another one is Daniel. Let me see if that's in this list here. Daniel 9 verse 27 has nothing to do with current prophecy or prophecies getting ready to come to pass. Daniel the 9th chapter took place. We're talking about I'll say about 2,000 years ago. That's when that prophecy took place. Daniel, they cite Daniel 12 verse 10. Many shall purify themselves and make themselves white and be refined. That's talking about the elect, but the wicked, Esau, the so-called white boy, that includes Vocab, No Class Malone, and Dr. James White, the Edomite, But the wicked shall act wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand. But those who are wise shall understand. And that's the ESV version of the scriptures. Well, that's talking about right. It's talking about back then, and it's talking about right now. Because only a remnant, as we all know, only a remnant shall come out. But like I said, I was surprised that they didn't put Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, in there. So let's go to that. And see, our videos don't even have to be that long because we hit these points, you know, go right to the source and go right to the scriptures, explain it, and then move on to the next one. Okay, Ezekiel. Ezekiel 38. Ezekiel 38 verse 1, and we should know this by heart. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. That's talking about Russia and those European, Turkey is a part of it, that region in the north. But Gog and Magog represents Russia, and prophesy against him. And say, Thus saith Yahweh the Most High, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine armies, Russian armies, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, modern day bucklers and shields, are all of them handling swords, and the swords are the missiles. Modern day sword is the missile. Persia is Iran. If you look up the word Iran, matter of fact, I'm going to do that. Iran is actually the way you pronounce it. Iran. Not Iran. Okay, let me go to, oh, here it is. I can't believe it. This will prove to you that current Iran is, are the Persians. It says here, Iran. It says Iran, also known as Persia, officially the Islamic Republic of Iran, is a country in Western Asia. But that's all I need. That's all I need. The first couple of words in this, when you go to Google and you look up the word Iran, it's Iran, also known as Persia. So that's Persia. So the first nation on that list of nations in the 5th verse of Ezekiel 38 is Persia, which is Iran. And people will say, oh, no, that's not a different country. Yeah, I know the Bible. No, you don't know the Bible. You don't know the Bible. You don't know history. You don't know how to go into words. It says, so that's common knowledge that Iran is Persia. It says Ethiopia. We know where Ethiopia is, and Libya, which is Pawat or Put, one of the sons of Ham, which is currently known as Libya, with them, all of them with shields and helmets. Gomar and all of his bands, the house of Togarmah, of the north quarter, and all his bands, and many people with thee. 7th verse, be thou prepared. And what did the president of Iran say? They're right now they're going through air defense drills, so they're getting ready for war. They're gearing up for war. And it's going to lead to war. Be thou prepared and prepare thyself. Prepare thyself for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So Russia's going to get involved. If Iran goes to war, declares war, or the U.S. declares war against Iran, guaranteed Russia's going to get involved, and almost other European nations. Ultimately, all the European allies of the U.S. will come against America and eat her flesh and burn her with fire, which are the missiles. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.
Shalom. All glory, praise, and honor be to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Chakodash, and Shani Kabad, and Kadwala Rokwab, the Kwanyam Nawa, Washalayakim Nawa, which is double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and Shalom, Wabarakim, Labakayim, Shayasharala. And that's peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. And as always, to the confusion of faces, meaning those who look like the other nations, but whose spirits resonate with the truth, and that believe and have faith in Yahweh, the Heavenly Father, and Yahweh Shai, the only begotten Son. So to all you brothers out there, pushing this word in truth and in sincerity, I want to say peace and blessings to you all. So as you can see through the Spirit led me to this article that was published yesterday by Fox News, and it's entitled, Are You Ready for a Chip Implant? And why do I put emphasis on Fox News? Because over here in the United States of America, or rather Babylon the Great, Fox News is a very, very, very popular media outlet that has a big influence over the minds of the masses of the people, of the majority of the people over here. So the microchip actually being talked about on Fox News, or rather in this article, is just showing how big this microchip is actually getting. And it's also showing through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai that this word has been reaching across the four corners of the earth. Everybody and their mama knows that the microchip is the mark of the beast. 100%, without a doubt, for a fact, the microchip, or the RFID chip, whatever you want to call it, is the mark of the beast talked about in the Holy Scriptures. And if you take it, the Bible prophesies of destruction and damnation for you. It says, woe unto you, meaning death at the end of the day, death and destruction. So we are not to take the microchip no matter what circumstances you are in. Pray to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and that starts right now in these times. That's why the scriptures say that he that endureth unto the end, the same shall be saved. You don't just build up your spirit when the microchip is made mandatory. No. That's like saying I'm going to just jump into the fight without preparing, without boxing, without practicing, without running, without jump roping, anything. You just hopping in the ring thinking you ready, with no stamina, can't keep your hands up guarding your face for 5 minutes. So we're basically to get our spirit ready and our faith ready right now for when this microchip is made mandatory. Now what I want to bring out to the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is the fact that, once again, everybody knows. I want to go down to the comment section. I'm going to read maybe a few paragraphs of this article and then jump down to the comment section, and then we'll go to some scriptures, because everybody knows about the microchip being the mark of the beast. Even the people that say the mark of the beast is something else, if they say it's sin or Christianity, or they say it's the image of white Jesus, even they know, and they mamas know, that the microchip is the mark of the beast. And how do I know that? Because when you watch these videos of these other camps, and really just other Israelites, if you will, saying that the microchip is not the mark of the beast, and they go into explaining what they believe it is. If you ask those same people, are they going to take the chip? Their immediate answer is no. And if that's the case, if the microchip isn't the mark of the beast, how come you ain't gonna take it? That's my question. Why wouldn't you take it? Isn't it convenient? Can't you open and unlock doors? Can't you pay for things? Dummies. It says, by Fox News, are you ready for a chip implant? Okay, we're going to read a few paragraphs and jump down to the comment section that I found very intriguing. It says, you walk into a grocery store and pick up eggs. No smartphone? No problem. You swipe your hand across a reader and the amount is deducted from your bank account. So yes, you can buy and sell with the microchip, Nate. It says, if that sounds far-fetched, you obviously haven't been to Sweden recently, Nate, where thousands of people have reportedly had chips implanted in their bodies. Let's read more. It says, a company called Biohacks has already installed around 4,000 chips in customers inserted just below the thumb. They can use the implant to open secure doors, pay for tickets, and share emergency information with medical personnel, doing their best to show some kind of deception to make it seem as if this microchip is so convenient to the point where you just can't resist. But we are to resist through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. It goes on to read, the chip is about the size of a Tylenol pill, and the procedure, which costs $180, is similar to getting a tetanus shot. It goes on to read, the chip implant is a secure way of ensuring that a person's digital identity is linked to their physical identity. It enables access management in a way that protects individual self-sovereignty and allows users to control the privacy of their online activity. I mean, this is just straight deception. Esau is the damn devil. I mean, they're doing their best to make this seem so good, and the crazy part is that billions of people are going to fall for this. But either way, the word has gone out across the four winds of the earth. The Lord is coming back soon as the elect have been sealed. Let's keep reading a little bit, just a little bit. It says, another doctor agrees that getting chipped is practical and even advantageous. Of course they do. You know, they're in on it. As far back as 2014, experts have outlined a number of benefits, some medical and some consumer based. As far back as 2014. Okay, from a medical perspective, in the ER, we have patients coming every day who are confused or comatose, and we cannot get any medical history from them. Says Dr. Larry Burchett, a medical expert, blah, blah, blah. If we had access to that info because they have a chip in their skin, that could be life-saving. All deception. Okay, last paragraph. We implant many things now. Insulin pumps, pain pumps, birth control under the skin, he adds. There are risks of infection, but they are low. I don't think those risks are a big deal. Of course you don't. I guarantee that's a daggone Edomite. I guarantee you. I don't even have to look up their name, the person's name. Dr. Larry Burchett. Alright, let's jump down now, because we can see that this microchip is the mark of the beast. It's easy. There are plenty of videos out there, starting with that apostles and elders of Great Millstone and the like-minded individuals on down. You know, including myself, there are many videos out there breaking it down, why it's the mark of the beast and how we know that through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Now, jumping into these comments, look at what the people are saying. Okay, it says, by R. Trim, the Constitution protects my person, papers, and property. You will not insert something under my skin. Okay, cool. This person, we have the technology to scan my retina, fingerprints, and you have facial, voice, and body shape and movement moment recognition technology. Chipping is nothing more than branding you like property, aka slave. You can shove it, buddy. You can shove it, buddy. It says, Your anonym, whatever. That person puts, yay, or yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. And how long will it take before thieves are cutting people's hands off to steal the chip/identity? The next person says no thank you. The next person says, I wonder if the day is coming when the majority of us will owe our souls to the company store. Alright, let's just keep reading because it just gets more and more interesting. It says, what happens... Ooh, hold on. Okay, here we go. It says, what happens when the government insists... What happens when the government insists on everyone be chipped? Grab your guns and run. So you see the mentality of the people. People aren't stupid. Even if they don't know biblical prophecy, even if they don't know that the microchip is going to be made mandatory very, very, very soon, people still aren't dumb. People question, okay, what if this chip is made mandatory? What am I going to do? And you see people's first response. What did this person say? What happens when the government insists on everyone being chipped? His response to his own question is, grab your guns and run. What does that sound like? All out chaos. And what is that going to bring in? Martial law. This person replied to him and said, that's when the it's my body argument will finally apply. Of course, and it's not going to work. Now look at this person. It says, read some recent prophetic warnings from, and they put Jesus, about the mark of the beast that will soon be introduced when the economy can no longer be resurrected. Okay. The implant, and that's resurrected, he's talking about some kind of economic collapse, obviously. The implant will modify your DNA and will also be able to manipulate your thoughts. Okay, so be it. The Lord says that once you take it, there is no turning back to him for forgiveness. And that's very, very, very true. This person said America is the beast of the biblical end times, which is false. America is a part of the beast. The beast is talking about the NATO and EU. But anyway, since this person's Mark 7010, since they talked about the judgment for the mark of the beast, I just want to jump over now and get that really quickly. This is Revelation chapter 14, verses 8 and 9. It says, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon, or America, is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, meaning her philosophies, her rules and regulations, really democracy, right? Verse 9 says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High. The wine of the wrath of the Most High is talking about utter and complete destruction. It's talking about literally just being killed, if I'm going to be verbatim. In which the Bible says in the book of Habakkuk to write the scriptures to make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth. So the wine of the wrath of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is talking about death. So the same shall drink, or the same shall die, basically, which is poured out without mixture. Okay, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture, into the cup of his indignation, meaning his righteous anger, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, talking about this upcoming World War III, in which various different nations are going to completely destroy America by nuclear missiles. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Now I think there's maybe one more comment I wanted to read, not sure. America's the beast, blah blah blah. I had a chip implanted in my stomach, it was ruffles, blah blah blah. Ooh, look, Drew Bolt said it's not enforced, ... yet. You see? People know. Now check this out. I thought this comment was pretty interesting too. It says, whether it's true or not, it was just interesting as hell to me. It says people will accept these implants willingly, just as they have accepted iPhones willingly. In fact, phones will be constructed that require proximity to these implanted chips in order to work. thereby providing automatic security for the devices. So this person is basically assuming, or he's saying that it's going to happen where in order for your phone to actually work, your phone is going to be linked to a microchip inside of your body. And they're going to promote it by saying that it's ensuring security. Basically, only you can unlock and open your phone. You can track your phone no matter where it is. He says the same will be had with door locks, computer keyboards, login systems, cash registers, and the like. And it makes complete sense to me. It's believable, it's viable to me. I can see it. It says if you aren't chipped, then you won't be able to use a cash register, for example, because its security system requires it. It will become commonplace within a decade. I don't know about the whole decade part. Hell no. That joint about to go down soon. Alright? And that's the point right there. You know what I mean? Just wanted to bring out some of these comments just to show the minds of the masses of the people out there. This thing is getting really, really, really big. These prophecies are hidden. They're coming to pass. The microchip is the mark of the beast, and it will be made mandatory very, very, very soon. We're talking about not just in your lifetime, but hey, all I can say right now is sooner than we all think. Sooner than we all think. So I pray that this video was edifying and truly was some kind of a faith builder to the elect out there. I know it was for me. Hearing about these things and seeing prophecies truly builds up my spirit, and I pray that this video lifted up yours as well. I want to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Chakudash, and Tawada Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai for putting the spirit upon all of us to continue to do this work in truth and in sincerity, do your work in truth and in sincerity. I want to say double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone who taught us his truth and who rule well in these times, and peace and blessings to the Lord's elect out of the nation of Israel, that is. Shalom.
Shalom. Call hello Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS, who are the true leaders of all Israel on earth today. Salutations to all my fellow laborers, Yakim, that are doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. To the hopeful elect that are out there, the confusion of face Yakim that are joined unto our ranks, the Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. We are the Hebrew Israelites by blood, according to the scriptures, according to history, and according to the relics which have been dug up. This is a quick lesson on the meaning of words in the Strong's Concordance. As you see, this is the new Strong's Concordance, and if you observing, instead of looking at art from the time period of the Bible, you're looking at art from the Renaissance period. So they're telling you of their wickedness already. All right, because the book itself, this book, this is Psalm 64:8 coming to life, because they shouldn't even pick this book up or made anything like this, because this book is one of the main weapons that's used against them, because it gives you the meaning of the words in the Bible that have a different meaning when you read them in the prospective languages that they're written in today. All right, and the Bible was when it was printed to English, the words had strong differences in their in their meanings. This is 16:4. Yeah, Psalm 64:8 says, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. And men shall fear and shall declare the work of power, for they shall wisely consider of his doing. And that's what we're doing now. We're wisely considering the truth. All right, by digging deeper into the words as we learn scriptures. It tells you in the prologue of Sirach how important it is to look things up in the Hebrew, all right, in its original tongue, because the meaning, you know what, instead of just trying to, let's just go to it. This is the prologue of Sirach, and I'm going to start right here where it says wherefore. And it reads, wherefore let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us wherein we may seem to come short of some words which we have labored to interpret. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own tongue, meaning that the precept lines up among precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. All right, because if you read them in English, that's where the confusion comes in. Or if you read them in other languages, because those other languages interpret words differently. One of those main words being world. So with that, let's jump into Samuel. And this is 1 Samuel, the second chapter, verse 8 and 9. So this is 1 Samuel 2, 8 and 9. All right, and it reads, he raised up the poor out of the dust and lifted up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among princes and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are Yahweh's, and he has set the world upon them. All right. He will keep the feet of his saints. So this is how you know who the poor is that he's talking about. And the saints are the Israelites, according to the scriptures. And the wicked, which according to the scriptures is Esau, Edom, all right, the so-called white man. They would call themselves Caucasian. Shall be silent in darkness, for by strength shall no man prevail. So no matter how much strength they think they have, because in the scriptures it said, let our might be our strength. Roughly paraphrased in the wisdom of Solomon. Or let our strength be our right. Our might. So, make us right. I got all the guns, so therefore I'm right. I got all the missiles, so therefore I'm right. That's their mindset. But let's focus on that word world. All right. In 1 Samuel 2 and 8. It comes from the H right out of this book, 8398. And even though it's been revised, it's still enough to cut the Christian doctrine. And when you look at the lineup of precepts, it lets you know that they know that it is and always was about Israel. Always has been. These are all these precepts outside of a couple are precepts that they put in my Bible. All right. So, but back to the word world. It's 8398, and it's inhabited earth, the globe. All right, that's what that one says. All right, and it's the word is Tabal, because they got e's there. There's no e's in Hebrew. All right, and then it comes from H2986, which is Yabal. All right, and that means to bring forth, to flow. So it says the whole world is going to flow unto his elect. Meaning they're going to constantly, when the scripture says that our gates shall be open, we shall suck the milk, the breasts of kings. We're going to take all of their substance is going to be brought unto us. That's basically what they're saying. And the wicked is going to be the main ones to give. All right. Now let me read, go back to 1 Samuel 2, and I'm going to read verse 10, just to solidify what I just said. It said, the adversaries of Yahweh shall be broken to pieces out of heaven, shall he thunder upon them. Yahweh shall judge the ends of the earth, and he shall give strength unto his king, and exalt the horns of his anointed, man. So, the king, first of all, is King Yahushai, And then you got King David, who was given the kingdom of Israel forever. Forever. So this is all about Israel, man. You can't bring the other nations into this. Okay, you can't. Now let's get the first precept that's written in my Bible for verse 8, which is Luke 1:52. Okay, this has nothing to do with the other nations. The part about the other nations, they're the ones that's going to be bringing their substance, their gold, their brass, their iron, their good trees, their portions of their land that they're going to have to surrender over to us. This is Luke 1:52, and it reads, "He hath put down the mighty from their seats and exalted them to a low degree." And then the word there is thrones. All right, so the kings of the earth are going to be brought low, to a low degree, so that Israel can be brought up. All right, because we were put down to a low degree as punishment for a very, very long time. For a very long time. And one of the devices used to do it, you're looking at the Renaissance art to prove it, because they use Renaissance art and try to justify their place in the world. They're trying to match up art that they created to a time period when they were not in rulership, or when they was not the people of the Lord. Okay, they just weren't. All right. Next precept that's written in Job 2:8 is Job 36:7. So let's go to it. Okay, Job 36:7, and it reads, "He withdraweth not his eyes from the righteous, but with kings are they on the throne. Yeah, he doeth establish them forever, and they are exalted." All right, so who's the they? The they are the Israelites, man. Point blank, period. They are exalted, and no one else. It says in the scriptures that the kingdom shall not be left to another, man. All right. Now let's go to Psalms 75:3. Let's see what it says. That's the next precept. And it reads, "The earth and all the inhabitants thereof are dissolved. I bear up the pillars of it." Selah. Hey, when you go, it tells you that the pillars in 2:8, 1 Samuel 2:8, so the pillars of the earth are Yahweh's, and he hath set the world upon them. All right, and he will keep the feet of his saints, and the wicked shall be silent in darkness, for by strength shall no man prevail. Verse 10, "The adversaries of Yahweh shall be broken to pieces out of heaven," out of rulership. And out of heaven shall he thunder upon them, and the Lord shall judge the ends of the earth. All right, so that world, going back to that world is talking about the inhabited earth. All the ends of the earth are going to be judged by the Lord. Okay, point blank, period. Not the same world that's written in John 3:16. Not the same world. Okay, that word there is cosmos, which we're going to get into that word, because in verse 9, when it says he will keep the feet of his saints, and the wicked shall be silent, for by strength shall no man prevail, it's got Romans 3:19. So let's go to Romans 3:19. That's a precept they put in this Bible, man. See, Esau's tongue is falling upon himself, man. All right, I always tell you, Esau, stop running down the hallway with scissors, man. This is I'm gonna read Romans 3:19 through 20, and break and and give up. Well, we'll see in a second. It says, now we know that what things soever the law saith, it saith to them that are under the law, and every mouth may be stopped, and all the world may become guilty. All right, so that word there, that word world is cosmos, which is basically talking about the Israelites. Different word world, different meaning. All right, because the other world, even though the word in Samuel, even though it was Hebrew, it has the same meaning as oikoumene, which is the Greek way of saying the inhabited earth, all people. So that's the Greek equivalent to the one we read in Samuel. This one is a different world. All right, and to prove furthermore that it's talking about the Israelites. Look right here. It says it's cosmos comes from, which is G2889, comes from. It tells you from in the dictionary. G2865 was Casamio, and it says from a primary. Who are the primary people? The primary chosen, Israel. It says to take care of, to provide for. Cold cut. All right. Romans 3:20. Therefore, by deeds of the law shall no flesh be justified in his sight, for by the law is the knowledge of sin. So no, the law cannot save you, but the law is your schoolmate. The law is how you know that you're staying on good terms with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right, that's what the law is for. But now the righteousness of power without the law is manifest, being witnessed by the law and by the prophets, and that's Yahweh Shai. Okay, so you have to believe on Yahweh Shai, which is witnessed by the law and by the prophets. So you have to believe in Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. Okay. And you also have to keep the law to the best of your ability, point blank, period. That's what that's saying. All right. So if you go back to 1 Samuel, 2:10, it says the adversary of Yahweh shall be broken to pieces. Out of heaven shall he thunder upon them, and Yahweh shall judge the ends of the earth, and he shall give strength unto his king, and exalt the horn of his anointed. So first scripture popped in my mind when I read that was Revelation 2:6, which also lines up with Romans 9:1-5, when you start talking about the world of Israel, the cosmos, right? And that's the spirit, because I'm turning to Revelation and turn right to Romans 9. Wasn't even trying to. That's crazy. So hey, the Lord wanted it to come out. This is Romans 9:1, and it says, I say the truth in Hamashiach, I lie not, my conscience also bearing me witness in the Holy Ghost, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. For I wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach, for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh. So that eliminates all the other people, talking about spiritual Israelites and all the other mess, which there's no scriptures to substantiate that. And then verse 4 proves what I just said. Who are Israelites? To whom, personal pronoun, pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of power and the promises. Right? And the promises were what? We just read about them. All the other nations being under subjection, flowing and giving their strength over to Israel, their gold, their substance. Verse 5. Whose are the fathers? Personal programs. And of whom, personal pronoun, as concerning the flesh, Hamashiach came, who was over all, power blessed forever. Amen. So you other nations got nothing coming but chains, man. Shackles and chains and 1,000 years of slavery, man. And there's nothing you can do about it. All right. You've lived deliciously. You've made fun and had and lived and set up your businesses in Jake neighborhoods and gotten rich and wealthy off Jake while Jake struggles and is oppressed. And now it's your turn. Thus saith the Lord. Revelations 2:26. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. That's that king that he's going to set up. All right. And the co-heirs with him are the Israelites, the saints. Verse 27. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers. even as I received of my Father. Call Allah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Wakak Wadash Wa Abba Babal.
Alright. Once again, we're back again, man, with another basically open forum. You know, but first and foremost, we want to give all praise and infinite honor to the Heavenly Father and His Son. Of course, Salaki, of course, through the Spirit, man. You know, and that go by the name, and they go by the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash. Of course, we know that's the Heavenly Father, and we know that's who people ignorantly call Jesus, man, which is Yahweh Shah, man. You know, and of course, man, we just want to get into, you know, a little topic, man. Jake, they're done, man. You know, Jake is like a pancake that's been flipped so many times, man. They burnt, you know.
They're falling out of the skillet.
Exactly, man. You know, so at this point in time, man, it's really nothing we could do with them, man. You know, but we gonna come out here and we're gonna preach this word and we're gonna let them know, you know, of course, their judgment. But at this point in time, man, they're done, man. All they really deserve at this point in time is judgment, man. You know, and we giving them a form of judgment, but we need them to get the Heavenly Father's judgment, man. That death, man. You know?
If I could add real quick, I found this on the internet. It's some black lady politician in Georgia named Stacey Abrams, and this is a quote from her campaign. As a woman of faith, it is important for me to be an ally of the LGBTQ community. My parents raised me to understand your faith is a shield to protect, not a sword to strike down.
Yeah, and that's what Jake is about, that, man. Forwarding the so-called white man's plans, man. They're with that, man. Of course, you got your Jake that's in the NFL. You got your rappers. You got your politicians. They're with forwarding this foolishness that people call America, man. You know? And at this point in time, man, we all for those Jakes getting put down, man. Like a wounded horse, man.
This second Esdras 9 and 20.
Right.
It says, so I considered the world, and behold, there was peril because of the devices that were coming to it.
Right.
And I saw and spared it greatly, and have kept me a grape of the cluster and a plant of a great people.
That's right, man. And hey, contrary to popular belief, us and all the men that's pushing this work in truth and sincerity is that cluster, man. It's that cluster, man. And the perils are really from our people, man. Because they don't want to turn back into the Heavenly Father, man. You know, we give them this understanding and this knowledge, and all they do is want to go run back into the so-called white man and tell them how they could do these different things on how to take us down, man. Give advice and shit, because they don't really have the means, so they give advice to the so-called white. This way they stay at, or this is what they doing, this is what they like. This is what our people do, man. They don't want to see Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and His word become successful, man. But they can't stop it. Go ahead,
It says, let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain.
And that's talking about Israelites, man. Of course, we know the other nations is going to be put out of their misery, but we're talking about the wicked 2/3, man. Those who feel the need to want to come against the Heavenly Father's truth, man. And nowhere in this society does the culture of America benefit you, Jake. It doesn't, man. All it do is corrupt you, man. It turns you into degenerates, man. Constantly kissing the so-called white man's ass, trying to reach the highest plateau in this society, man. And you go look up on the world's wealth list, like Forbes, the wealth list, man. Jake ain't nowhere near on there, man.
That boxer, Floyd Mayweather made a beautiful point. He said, here it is, whites and blacks in America hate you so much the way you can be a black American boxer. They'll root for the person from another country to see you lose.
Yeah.
It used to be like that. It used to be if you was an American fighter, you used to root for you. Jack Johnson, all this. Which they want to root for them. You know, this is entertainment. But he made a beautiful point, man. 2/3 of you niggas, you're in tune to the madness here in America, man. You're not dealing with reality. You niggas are all gone in the matrix, man.
That's right.
To a point of no return.
That's right.
Go ahead,
and going back to what the brother was just reading. Can you read that for me again, huh?
It says, let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain.
And that's a beautiful point, man. The Heavenly Father, of course, He created you to bring the specific men out of these lines, man. But really, you were born for nothing, man. You don't have no purpose. You're not serving the Heavenly Father. That's the purpose. Don't it say in Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, that we supposed to serve the Heavenly? That's our reasonable service, man, to serve the Heavenly Father. That's what it says, man. So what's you people a reasonable service, man? What are you doing? Trying to make it, man. Trying to live the American dream. You want to make a lot of these rappers just trying to get their mom out the hood, man.
Real quick. This is 2 Peter 2. Let me get to the point. 8. It says, for that righteous man dwelling among them, is seeing and hearing, vex his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. The Lord knowing how to deliver the ungodly from temptations and to reserve the unjust until the day of judgment and to be punished.
And what is righteous, man? Pronouncing the Heavenly Father's word, man. And the wicked despise it, man, because you know what we preach? We preach the upcoming kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, of Yasharala, man. And that is, man, people can't even fathom it, man. This is everything people can hope for right here, man. Computers, iPhones, back page, all this foolishness, man. Exactly, man. You know, this is what the people want, man. You know, women worship. You know. Wait, go ahead and continue to read that one.
It says, and let my grape be kept and my plant, for with great labor have I made it perfect.
And with great labor the Lord has made it perfect, man. This is the representations of what the Lord has made perfect, man. Not what you see in them churches, man. The Lord ain't got nothing to do. The Lord, hey, that's all left hand. That's all left-handed work, man. This is what the right hand has created, man. Brothers coming out and preaching the word in front of everybody, man. You know, Jake, they want you to be quiet in front of the so-called white man. Hold on, don't say it too loud. Man, we gonna let our voice be heard, man, in front of the so-called white man. In front of you niggas too, man.
Hey, see, I would back you up, because when we on the highway, you see Jake, you see the white man and devil deal crack, you know, they be like, yeah, they be getting scared. They get spooked. They looking around like, man, he just said that, he about to get lynched.
Yeah, man. That's how you know niggas still have this fear. They have that fear in them, man. You know, go ahead.
And this basically going just that right there what you just said. This is Jeremiah 20, verse 13. It says, sing unto the Lord, praise ye the Lord.
Yep.
For he had delivered the soul of the poor from the hand of the evildoer.
That's right, man, and that's what we come to do. We come to deliver the poor, man. Cause Jake, y'all in need of something, man. Y'all in need of an understanding, like it says in Romans 11 and 7, man. What then? Israel had not obtained it which he's seeking for, man. Y'all looking for something, and we have what you, like I say, the elect have found it. Right. We have what you need, but you don't want it. You know why? Because you searching Buddhism, you searching Islam, man.
If I can say real quick out here, because what we're bringing to you, it sets a standard. You have to change your life completely. You have to start not being such a damn reprobate, giving into adultery, giving into eating pork, especially being a fucking hypocrite. That's the biggest thing with you, Jakes. I mean,
they're the biggest fucking hypocrites known to man. They're the biggest whores and drug dealers, and biggest pimps and every damn thing else. Sodomites and every damn thing else.
That's right.
That's why the scriptures I'm gonna find it. It said you go to the Ecclesiastes, you go to the house of whoredoms, man.
Yep.
The whole house, man.
And when it comes down to these scriptures, ain't no way around it, man. When you go into Exodus the 20th chapter all the way into Leviticus, man, it sets a standard, a beautiful standard for the people, man. You know, and all it do is just, when you read it, it just express life, man. But you Negroes don't want life. You Negroes want to smoke weed all day, and you women won't run the streets all day, man. You have more on that Nashamaya, or you?
That was it on that.
This is Ezekiel 16:24. Thou that said, thou, excuse me, said, that thou hast built unto thee an eminent place, come with the churches, and has made thee a high place on every street. And that's how it is. When you, especially around the way in the hood, before you can make a whole full 2-mile radius, you didn't pass at least 18 churches.
That's right. That's right.
There's a church on that corner, there's a church on that corner, there's a church across the street from each other.
Yeah.
2 blocks away is another church, big time mega church. You know, it's a funeral home and a church. You got all type of fucking vile, polluted ass doctrines on every street, man.
Right.
These pimps. And it says, verse 25, thou hast built thee thou hast built thee a high place at every head of the way.
Yeah.
It has made thee beauty to be a whore. It has opened thy feet to everyone that passes by. Come as you are. You can be a faggot. Come as you are. Dress how you want to be in the church. That's a full. We know the church, especially down here, man. It's a damn it's a fashion show.
That's right.
You stinking ass old women with that nasty perfume, still got them big ass hats on.
Yeah, fucking fruit basket.
Yeah. You got them tight ass goddamn stilettos on, and your feet busting out of them motherfuckers. You know? It's a fashion show, man.
All that shit is fashion show concept.
Right.
All they doing is putting out a little pictures coming out.
That's right.
How much money you gonna get? That's all they talking about. Who if the Lord wants to have a jet? I can have a jet.
Yeah, he started off the bid, who can give $100. By the time you know it, you go to sermon on it, they ask you, who can give 1,000, man? You niggas willing to do it, man. But let me finish it out. It says, and open thy feet to everyone that passeth by, and multiply thy whoredom.
Yeah, that's right, man. Multiply thy whoredoms. Y'all go up in there to lay on iniquity, man. Y'all go up in there to constantly give homage and give praises unto the spiritual demon Satan, man. Y'all fine with that, man. Because if y'all wasn't fine with that, y'all would take heed to that real word, man.
Hey, can I say this, Elijah? Don't that speaking in tongues shit sound demonic to y'all?
Yeah, yes, indeed.
That shit sound demonic as hell, man.
I can't think of the actual, it's an actual term. It started with a K, man. One of the young brothers from the Dallas camp had brought it out. You know, that you order that vibration, that circle. Why you niggas, huh? Kundalini, that's it. You niggas get the gyrate, woman from the mouth, fall on the floor, tongue coming out. That's that Kundalini spirit, man. That's a demonic, devilish spirit on this niggas, man. Running out the fucking aisle, shit, flipping, doing like Martin Mama backflip. Shit you niggas do, man.
Yeah.
Hey, makes sense they got a serpent spirit in there, because who do they got a picture of? Cesare Borgia.
Yeah, that's right.
White Jesus, that serpent.
Yeah, he lead the Soul Train line.
Yeah, I remember a while back when I first came to the truth, learning about that, man. You had a young girl was so-called preaching. Ain't no more than about 5 years old. She teaching.
Yeah.
Or preaching, as they say. She all that bullshit, all that shit.
Yeah.
But when she closed her eyes, she could still see her. She started laughing out her tongue, man. I said, that's a devil, man.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a devil, man.
Go ahead, give me that line.
That's the vibration.
Leviticus 26:14. But if you will not hearken unto me, and will not do these commandments, and if ye shall despise my statutes, of your soul abhor my judgments, so that ye will not do all my commandments, but if ye break my covenant. 16. I also will do this unto you. I will even appoint over you terror, consumption.
And that's coming to you, Jakes, man. Because we can't keep every single law, but we do things to the best of our ability, man. And that's what the Heavenly Father wants us to do. That's what He want to see, man. People putting real good effort into doing His work, man, to the best of their ability. But look at you niggas, man. All you niggas want to do is despise it, man. Man, ain't what the Lord say. Y'all the devil. Don't forget, man, they call Yahweh Shah Beelzebub, man. Because he was that's right, man. Well, y'all just quoting what they called the Yahweh Shah and when they was basically prosecuting. You know, they call him the devil, man. So what you think they gonna call his men? You know?
In the burning herb, it said that shall consume the eyes and cause sorrow of heart.
Right.
And ye shall sow your seeds in vain.
That's right, man.
For your enemy shall eat it.
Hey, and your enemy have ate it, man. So-called white man have gobbled you niggas up out here, man. Y'all are totally consumed, man. And that was from, hey, man, honestly, that was from our own doings, man. But hey, the men of the Lord, we coming back. Who the Heavenly Father chose to come back, we coming back, man. And we doing the proper thing that the Lord want us to do, man. You know?
Leviticus 26:17, and I will set my face against you, and ye shall be slain before your enemies. That they hate you shall reign over you.
That's
and
right.
Ye shall flee when none pursue you.
Yeah. You know, and that's the truth, man. And these things have happened to you, man. You know, and it's gonna continue to happen to you, man, because you despise the Heavenly Father. So death and destruction is coming unto you.
Isaiah 1 and 2. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord has spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me.
Y'all constantly rebel against the Lord, man. Just like the brothers was going into, man, about the churches, man, about how you constantly just disrespect the prophets. Y'all constantly rebel against the Lord. Go ahead,
It says, the ox know his owner,
right,
and the ass his master's crib. But Israel do not know. My people do not consider.
That's right, man. And even if y'all do watch videos, man, y'all still don't consider, oh man, look at these niggas, man, talking that foolishness, that nonsense, man. Man, I ain't no Israelite, man. I'm a Negro. Oh, I'm an Asiatic black. Oh, I'm from Africa, man. You know, this is the thing that you Negroes say. Y'all sit up there, watch the videos and scoff, man.
Right.
Or some of you niggas out here that never seen us, you don't even want to understand what it is. Y'all just want to be on y'all merrily day smoking your cigarette, man. You know? What?
A sinful nation, a people laden in it with iniquities, like a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters, that have forsaken the Lord, they have provoked the Holy One of Israel into anger.
That's right, man. And hey, y'all do it. Honestly, Israel, y'all provoke the Heavenly Father like it's nothing, man. Y'all do it like y'all do it as it's a sport, man. It's literally a sport to you to talk about taking another woman, man. It's literally a sport for these women out here to be whoring themselves, man. This is a sport out here, man. Who could get a nigga out his money quicker? What dude could pimp out the most girls, man? This is what you do, so you know what you're gonna get for all these different things that y'all just don't give a damn about, but see like, but look at it like it's nothing. Pure death, man. You know? Go ahead.
The Lord don't mind killing your ass, please. You see triple homicides every night on the fucking news. You know, you see your kids dying. You dumbass leaving them in the car while hot as fuck. In the pools and shit. Lord, that's why the Lord don't mind doing it to you, man. He really gonna do it on a grander scale than Jacob Trouble, man. Niggas always take shit for a joke. Everything is a game. It's not a game out here, man. Shit getting real. These Edomites are getting more and more racist. The Lord has put them in an 1830 spirit, man. Seriously. From that, they gonna really test you niggas nuts, man. And do it to you.
See what you're about. A lot of you niggas won't be in the hood talking about how you got about what? 4-5 boxes of bullets.
Them bitches corrosive.
Them
bitches corrosive.
Nigga only use them bitches at the shooting range, huh?
I like that. That old ass cheap ass high point. It ain't cost about $50. Blow up in your fucking face.
And most of you, I just want to say, most of you niggas turn the gun like this.
Yeah,
man.
Off of TV, watch your fucking TV. And look, the land back off a brother while you niggas laughing and ha-ha and teaching your little daughter and son and them how to twerk and shit. Esau out here showing their children how to survive off the land, load up pistols, run around the block 100 times, you heard me, while y'all playing and laughing. Esau in his old spirit, like the brother said, man.
He in the 1830 spirit, man. Teaching his wife how to shoot. His kids how to shoot. how to hate niggas.
That's right, bro. And you know, at the end of the day, we know that's Esau's blessing. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? We know that's Esau's blessing. But Jake, what's your blessing? The spirit, man. And y'all can teach y'all children the same thing. Y'all not gonna survive in that day, man. Right. It don't matter, cause we know they got Negroes that teach their children how to reload, unload, and all this, you know, and how to break down a gun. But what that's gonna do for you in that day, man? When you got about 50, about maybe like 1,500 to 2,000, maybe even more, army troops surrounding your house, man. What you gonna be, 007?
I'm gonna say something too. Also, you can tell the spirit is moving, man, because while you have a righteous spirit waking up the elite of Yasha, what is a DJ doing? A DT doing? Donald Trump doing? He's waking up the spirit of the old ancient too, man. He's telling them, man, we have lost our way. We need to make America great again, man. We need to get back on our hate, that hate spirit, man. That spirit is live and awake here.
That's right.
Sooner or later, they're going to be running around, like I said, F-250s, lynching niggas for sport. You know, shooting niggas for sport.
Right.
You know how they do? You know how Esau get on the ground with the kill he made in the woods and put the head, hold the head, gonna do you niggas that, man. You niggas living that shit. Serious shit.
I have a hook in their mouth to pull them up.
Serious shit.
I want to say this too, because one of them Jakes just got lynched. His mama was an one of them activists for Michael Brown.
Yeah, and
they killed her son.
And Esau been knocking a lot of you motherfuckers that Black Lives Matter. One of them got killed down here. Another one got killed the other day. A lot of these niggas get knocked off, man. What happened?
There was an Edomite who went to a Baptist church to go shoot up some Jakes, but they wouldn't let him in there. So he went to a Kroger's down the street and shot a Jake and a Jake man and a Jake woman. And the Jake woman had her grandson with her, and they got wasted right in front of the grandson. And there was an Edomite there that's like, "Oh, don't shoot me." And the shooter said, "Whites don't kill whites." That's the spirit Esau's in.
Look at the old 1830 spirit they get back. You niggas are not gonna fucking wake the hell up until shit getting real, until heads rolling down the street, man. That's when you niggas gonna wake, when them Edomites putting on them robes again, man.
God.
When them robes come back into style. Yeah. When them crosses in your fucking lung come back into style, man.
That's right.
And when you have blood on the leaves,
yeah.
you the fruit, you swinging from the leaves like fruit, man.
Strange fruit.
Go ahead, bro. I get started with niggas, man.
They have provoked the Holy One of Israel to anger.
And this is the example of the anger of the Lord. Of course, we can't fully go into what it would be if the Lord was laying down that judgment, but this is an example of it, man. We crying unto the Heavenly Father, letting them know, man, to destroy these niggas, man.
Right.
They don't serve you, man. They don't serve you, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. They serve their own belly, man. Everything they do is in vain. A nigga would take driving in a drop top BMW with a cigar in his mouth than be in his own in his own kingdom, man.
That's right.
That's what a nigga would do, man.
Hey, like that handicapped nigga that's always coming up with that little dog, always talking shit, scoffing, talking about your God ain't my God. Nigga, who you think got you like that, bitch ass nigga? Cause you a scoffer. That's why you like that, dog. Back in your past life, you was doing the same shit, you heard me? That's why we don't have no type of pity on you, bitch ass nigga, man. It says, they have provoked the Holy One of Israel into anger. They are going away backwards.
They're going away backwards, man. And you could tell, man, every time the elect take a couple steps forward, 2/3 take a whole bunch of steps back, man.
Sprint back.
That's right.
Why should ye be stricken anymore? He will revolt more and more.
That's right.
The whole head is sick, and the whole heart faint.
That's right, man. And us as a whole nation, we fucked, man. If it depends on us all coming back, we will never happen, man.
Guess what? That was the head of rebellion. Because the head that we putting on now in the body is Yahweh Shai's head.
That's right.
We're healing the body as a whole. That's why every brother up here, this brother might be the hand, that brother might be the leg, the foot. You got everything assembled, everything is working through the spirit. The this new man that we didn't usher in. What's going to be the head of that new man? Yahweh Shai. Right. That old man, he put his own head on it. He was sick. He was fucked up, man. The scripture say putrefying sores. Oh, he was fucked up, man. That's why we in the predicament we're in now. But now we put on that new head, man. Right.
This is St. John 3:18. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he have not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of the Most High.
And we already know 2/3, they still calling on Jesus, man. Or Yahshua, or Yeshua. So you already know they condemned, man. Even when you bring out the real name of the Lord and explain to them why this is the real name, it doesn't matter, man. Like I said, everything is about benefiting yourself, man. And that's what these people, that's what really play a part in these people's lives. What benefits them. Soon as they get a little bit of this truth and it shake them up like a canned Pepsi, oh man, it's over once you open it. Say that in the next truth.
And this is the condemnation, that light is coming to the world, and men love darkness rather than light.
Yeah, it is, man.
Because their deeds were evil.
Why criminals, thieves and robbers, and jackboys, why they love the nighttime so much? They got hope of getting away with this shit. That's why they see their bullshit. The holes and knots, they love the nighttime so much.
That's right. That's right.
They get away with this shit.
Right.
That's right. Get away with their bullshit, man. Right. What the scripture say, she wiping her mouth, she has done nothing. 9 times out of 10, the bitch did it at nighttime. Serious shit. Hey, we know, hey, every man up here done seen these hoes movies, man. Been seen these hoes in action, as we say. Gordon, he go, I'm going to the gym. Park the car at the gym. They call it the gym, but that hoe somewhere else, man.
Yeah. Y'all, there's somebody else.
You know? We'll go ahead until we finish it out, huh?
For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither come to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved.
That's right, man. And as soon as this light come on a nigga, man.
Hey, my bad. It's like the vampire. What happened with the vampire nigga?
Yeah,
what that was? Yeah, he get the smoke when the light come up. When that light come, oh no, the Count Dracula. Oh no, the light hit the motherfucker and get the smoking, man.
Yeah.
That what this truth do to your ass. It burns you up, man.
You get the fuck. That's right.
That's the spirit, though.
The scripture say a wicked man flee when no man pursue it.
That's right, man. Yeah, it's like the vampire movie. Like I said, when the sun come out, he got to do all his dirt before the sun come out.
Sure.
Then when a little bit of sun hit his ass, man, or light hit his ass, he get the sizzling. You know? That's the spirit, though, man.
That's right. That was it. You got something, man?
The second Maccabees 4. And I'm going to start at 7. It says, but after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus called Epiphanes, took the kingdom, Jason, the brother of Onus, labored underhand to be high priest, promising unto the king by intercession 360 talents of silver and of another revenue 80 talents. Besides this, he promised to assign 150 more if he might have license to set up him a place of exercise and for the training of youth and the fashions of the heathen, and to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochus, which when the king had granted, he had gotten into his hand to rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to the Greekish fashion, man.
And there it is, man. And hey, this is a representation of that, man. Look at these Negroes, man. They are American to the fullest, man. And they well with that, man, today, man. They are basically Greeks, man. You know?
It says, in the royal privileges granted of John, the father of Ephraim, who went ambassador to Rome for amity and aid, he took away, and putting down the governments were according to the law.
Right.
I was gonna say something too. That show you, man. We as spiritual men, we ain't dumb to a damn thing. That's why we know all that shit you see with Colin Kaepernick, that shit bullshit.
Yeah.
You tell me niggas been over here 400 years, you just started on not standing up for the flag and pledge allegiance and shit.
Right.
You know, I put him under the same category as Kanye. Talking about, oh, I was told to do this. Yeah, we know. We ain't fooled by the dumb shit though.
Yeah, we already know how liberal. I was gonna say we already know how you liberal how you liberal Negroes get down, man. Y'all being paid to push that
vibration
bullshit. That's right, man.
That's all the stir up bullshit. You should at least know these motherfuckers care about America. Work.
Yeah.
They care about the bald eagles and shit, man. You know, that's just to rile you up, because it had nothing to do with no fucking soldiers and nothing like that. It was about the injustice.
Right.
But like I said, a guy like that, he couldn't come up there with it on his own, man.
No.
He was brought and paid for the toll to do that, man. And he gonna be a good nigga. Anytime you see a nigga with an afro, with a fucking turtleneck on, it's hot as fuck, man. This nigga set up, man. With that black power panther bullshit. Come on, man. Just like this guy. This guy was set up, man. He got intercession and shit, man. He was bought and paid for by the king, man. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, and that's like you say, the propaganda of the wicked is just exactly that, man. The wicked got a propaganda, man. They use their people as idols. They use the people they are basically have the propaganda against, set up idols, such as your Lil Waynes and other people like that, man, to mislead the people, man.
Further their agenda.
That's right, to further their agenda, man. But it says, and putting down the government which were according to the law, and brought up new customs against the law. For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under subjection, and made them wear a hat. Now such was the height of Greek fashions and increase of heathenism, manners, through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest, that the priests had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise, after the game of discus called them forth. This the point. Not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all,
And
man.
if I could say, as generations then went on, man, Negroes ain't got no shame, man. They feel like they came from the wounds of the so-called white man, bruh. That's the point we at now, man. Oh, let's vote for this senator. He's a Negro. Man, Negroes ain't never been at this point in time in their life. Right. We got a black president now, man. We made it.
That's the biggest trick at least ever fucking did. That was the biggest trick niggas ever did. And all in reign of wickedness, man.
That's making my career.
Yeah.
It's still making my career.
You got Jesse Jack running like a bitch. What you talking about the man?
Esau set up there and put Obama, which are first and foremost with the Hamites, put him in office, make you think that Jake don't know what the fuck going on, but Jake think he of the nation. Yeah. And then they made sure within his span of ruling, he fucking has the homosexuality, going on, and making fucking mockery of you, man.
That's why years ago, like Elder said, man, I bring it out time and time again. You niggas love anything that's packaged right. If it's packaged right, it look good, pretty bold, you niggas love to have it so. It could be pure shit inside. You niggas just love it.
Yeah, he got on a suit.
Yeah.
Oh, he got on a suit. That nigga,
eloquent.
That nigga tie got plaid on it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I got something.
Hey, can I say it too? You're right, because, man, Tyler Perry not even a preacher, but he up there preaching in the church, and they up there, hallelujah, hallelujah. He's a big faggot motherfucker.
Fucking tall ass nigga with a dress and a wig on.
Alright, this is Jeremiah chapter 21, starting at verse 4. It says, Thus said Yahweh, the power of Israel, Behold, I will turn back the weapons of war that are in your hands, wherewith ye fight against the king of Babylon, and against the Chaldeans which besiege you without the walls. And I will assemble them into the midst of the city. You niggas not paying attention, that's what the fuck is going on right now. You dig? Y'all got y'all little weapons and shit. You know, y'all think y'all got this made and that made. Y'all gonna come up against a nation that's been having you in slavery for over 400 years. You know, they've been fucking over you, killing your mama, your daddy, your brother, your sister, fucking over you in the household and all on multiple levels. And you niggas don't see what's going on, so let me continue and finish this off. Okay, verse 5 says, And I myself will fight against you, This is Yahweh speaking. And I myself will fight against you with an outstretched hand and with a strong arm, even in anger and in fury and in great wrath. And this is the finishing right here. I will smite the inhabitants of the city, both man and beast, and they shall die of a great pestilence. That's the judgment for you niggas, man. So the fact that brother bringing out how you niggas is being clown kicks for these bitches, you niggas sitting up here trying to believe in I'm finally getting the American dream. They got all of these you know, they got a lot of motivational shit they put on the internet. Believe in yourself. You don't need, there's no such thing as spiritual. Believe in yourself. Okay? The blessing for Esau is the sword. The blessing for us as Israel is being spiritual. Being spiritual first. And the fact that you don't believe in that is the fact why the Heavenly Father gonna get rid of you niggas, man. And the Heavenly Father himself is gonna put his wrath on those missiles and on his men to make judgment for you niggas, according to Jeremiah 16:16.
Because I just wanted to say, the Heavenly Father gonna give us an opportunity to have fun with you niggas, man. You can believe that.
All in all, we're not worried about you two-thirds coming back, because y'all are the same wicked Jakes back during the times of Moses who saw the Red Sea get split, who saw the plagues of Egypt, and you still forsake that to go back to the ways of Egypt, which we know Egypt today is America. And how much more with you Jakes nowadays, when you really have to be rocking in the spirit to see the truth. It's not carnal where you're seeing these great miracles happen yet.
Yeah.
This is Exodus chapter 32. I'm gonna start at the top. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, Up, make us gods. The man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what has become of him. The pride and the arrogance, the man who the Most High picked to save you, you didn't see him for a little while, so you decided to go back to being a reprobate.
And I want to add this in there. That's the reason why Jake loved the so-called white man so much, because he gives Jake a liberty to be an idol unto people, man. To be gods unto people, man. You could be multiple idols within this kingdom, man. Everybody have a persona that somebody wants to follow in this place, man. But we just following the scriptures, man. You know?
Hey, we're coming in the spirit of Moses now, learning these laws, statutes, and commandments, and coming down from the mount to try to teach y'all to bring y'all back. But y'all aren't going to learn. Y'all going to have to learn by that death by pain. This is verse 2. And Aaron said unto them, Break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people brake off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron. They were using the same gold that Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua gave them as a treasure from their captors. They used it to make another idol, worshiping their captors. And he received them at their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it. And Aaron made proclamation and said, Tomorrow is a feast to Yahweh. I got one more.
Oh, I just want to say, I just wanted to say, and that's just like today, man. We let the people know, listen, Christmas, it's not to be worshipped, man. Halloween, Thanksgiving, all these different things, man. All y'all want to do is just take this and just all y'all want to do is just be a part of this forever, man. It's not gonna work like that, man. The Lord not gonna let that happen like that, man.
And then they try to lie and say it's for the kids just so they can celebrate. There's always an excuse for something.
One more precept. And this last verse I'm about to read fits you Jakes like a glove, showing how ignorant you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are. And they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. You Jakes are in that I don't give a fuck spirit. I'm just going to have a good old day on Saturday while the whole world's burning around you. But y'all are going to learn soon enough where you're going to feel that nuclear fire.
It's just like the movie The Purge, man. They was having a goddamn party on the Purge, man. Jakes don't give a damn, man.
Party and bullshit.
They might. Yeah. All right. But for the most part, Lord willing, man, we made the point. You know, and brothers would edify, man. We want to give all praise and infinite honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushua, Ba'ashim, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the elders, apostles, great millstone, and salutations to all you Akim, pushing this working truth with sincerity. Shalom.
All right, Shalom. We are the Hebrew Israelites. We come in week out, prophesy the downfall of this wicked place, wicked kingdom known as Babylon. And we just want to give all praises, glory, and honor to unto Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that rule well. And peace and salutations unto the chosen elect. Okay, and we're going to get started. We can get Genesis 20. Babakusha. Right? You know, because we're going to get into how, you know, the Lord, He protects His men, and the servants or the men that serve the Lord. If you have a woman and she's good by you, the Lord can protect her, all right? You know, and you shouldn't worry about if you're going to lose some type of woman in your life, man. Genesis chapter 20. Yes.
Genesis chapter 20, verse 1.
That's right.
And Abraham journeyed from thence toward the south country and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur, and sojourned in Gerar. And Abraham said unto Sarah his wife, She is my sister. And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah.
Yeah, so basically he lied and said that was my sister instead. And the reason why he did this, when you later on read, you'll kind of get a hint why, because he was scared. Because Abimelech, he was a king, he was an overlord of that land, and he was very powerful. So yes, you know, a lot of the men of the Lord, that's why it says you have to be meek. A lot of the men of the Lord, they were meek, man. They were very kind-hearted. Okay, and they did fear in the flesh, right? So he took his wife, right? Keep going.
Verse 3. But Yahweh came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, Behold, thou art but a dead man.
That's right. So basically the Lord threatened him in a dream, right? Intimidation, because that's what the Lord does. Because if you go back into James chapter, I think it's the second chapter, right? It goes into how Abraham was a friend of the Lord.
That's right.
So what do you do with a friend of the Lord, man? You're going to always have his back.
That's right.
Right? So that's what he did. He intimidated him, and he got him shook.
It says, For the woman which thou hast taken, she is a man's wife. But Abimelech had not come near her, and he said, Lord, wilt thou slay also a righteous nation?
Yeah, and that should teach you, you know, don't fear. Like, let's just say if you have a woman, all right, even though we're not the time of that, you have to act like you're single, because you're in this truth. That's
right.
But you shouldn't fear. If a woman's with you and she does good by you, you shouldn't fear if these other guys are going to take her, because the Lord, He could put a spirit on her for the man not to touch her. Right? So, you know, for example, right, if your woman's out and she gets enticed or she's around another man, the Spirit of the Lord could probably make that man not get hard. You know, and he might not even know fucking why. Right? So those are the things that you have to take, and you have to have faith to believe that, because a lot of men, they follow this truth because of a woman, man. You know?
Verse 4. But Abimelech had not come near her, and he said, Lord, wilt thou slay also a righteous nation?
He said a righteous nation because, you know, he's not an Israelite or the chosen line, but you could see he kind of did follow, and he knew what the laws were, so to speak. Okay, that's why he was saying, Lord, don't slay me, slay this righteous nation, because he didn't mean to be covetous. Right?
Said he not unto me, she is my sister.
That's right.
And she herself said, he is my brother. And the integrity of my heart and innocence of my hands have I done this.
And you know, and you see here, because Sarah went along with what Abraham told her to do. You know, a woman didn't buck up, so she knew her place. She called him Lord. That's right.
Yeah. Right. She had enough respect. She did have enough respect for him. Verse 6. And Yahweh said unto him in a dream, Yea, I know that thou didst this in the integrity of thy heart, for I also withheld thee from sinning against me.
So basically he tempted him. Yahweh Hashem Yeshai tempted Abimelech to do it. So, you know, the scripture says that the Lord is a strange power. That's strange. Because he was trying to be righteous, but the Lord tempted him to see, or tested him to see if he was going to do the right thing. Right?
Therefore suffered I thee not to touch her. Now therefore restore the man his wife, for he is a prophet, and he shall pray for thee, and thou shalt live.
So Abraham was a prophet. He was a seer. Okay? Someone who said things before. And if you're a seer, you're really a servant of the Lord. A prophet is a servant of the Lord. Okay? So he was held in high esteem by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Because you're not supposed to put your hand on a prophet. But in this day and age, they don't respect prophets. Okay? Or seers. They call them kooks, they call them madmen, they swear at them, they call them bums, just like what you see what's happening to us today. Alright?
And if thou restore her not, know thou that thou shalt surely die. Thou and all that are thine. That's right, everybody. It says, therefore Abimelech rose early in the morning and called all his servants and told all these things in their ears. And the men were sore afraid. Then Abimelech called Abraham.
Yeah, because he rose early, because that was heavy on his mind, man.
Yeah.
And it also proves that the king is not just sitting around eating grapes all fucking day. He's up before everybody else, man. And he's worried about the state of his kingdom. And you have a lot of men in Israel and even in the world, they're not worried about the state of their flock. About what their kinsmen and their clan members are doing, man. They just let them do whatever the hell they want. That just proves to you that this is a queendom, because that's exactly how the rulers of this society act, right? And they teach the people to act that way. Okay.
Then Abimelech.
Just great example, because you have just like the men that were wasted out from the Lord's camp. They go out and go set up other camps, right? And as an example, the same thing, what he just said, right? Because they were not with the Lord to begin with, right? These men that go out and set up these camps, what did they end up doing? Right? Fall apart. You know, so that's the same example right there. So we gotta, take heed in spirit, of course, and just look at that as an example as well. When these men get sifted out, okay, that's the exact same thing that happened. That's all I want to say.
This is Proverbs 27 and 23. It says, be thou diligent to know the state of thy flocks, and look well to thy herds.
Right. That goes before right there, you know what I'm saying? That goes deeper than the flock. It goes into many people. Yeah, like men, like women, like other things, you know what I'm saying, of the world, you know?
Like Yahushua, he took care of the flock. He came down to personally feed the sheep.
He said, if you love me, feed my flock.
That's right.
Verse 9. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said unto him, what hast thou done unto us? And what have I offended thee, that thou hast brought on me and on my kingdom a great sin?
And that shows you this is not the first time that the Lord has done that, because there's many times where he went to another nation's place and then mashed up the place, right? So that's why these other nations, they tell you to go away from you. Think about it. Just even Jake in his low state, the heathens don't want him around because Jake is going to dominate.
That's right.
But if a man of the Lord comes in that place, they get super scared. Because they know that you bring a terrible power with you.
Yes.
Right?
And you're going to mash up everything. Whatever negative energies are on, you're going to just destroy them.
Yeah.
And you're not even going to want to dwell there anyways. You're not going to want to go amongst those type of people. You know? It says, that thou hast brought on me and on my kingdom a great sin. Thou hast done deeds unto me that ought not to be done. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, what sawest thou that thou hast done these things? And Abraham said, because I thought surely the fear of Yahweh is not in this place, and they will slay me for my wife's sake.
That's right, because you know, the thing is, this was also a lesson to give Abraham more faith in the Lord, because the Lord was with him wherever you go. It doesn't matter what path you choose, the Lord's gonna have your back. And it was the same result. The Lord had his back. So if he was just straight up and upfront in the beginning, that probably wouldn't have taken place. But it's not about that. It's just to build up his faith and basically our faith, because we're reading it, right? And then there's also you also can't just cast away certain people. If you see, let's just say we're in Babylon, right? We know that the majority of people here, they don't fear the Lord. They don't care about the law, statutes, and commandments. But that doesn't mean we just blow every single person off, right? We still have to go here and testify and give an answer. So that's what it kind of shows you here. You always have to be ready to give an answer. You can't just say, fuck this place. You know? Right?
So true.
Verse 12. And yet indeed she is my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother. And she became my wife. And it came to pass when Yahweh caused me to wander from my father's house, that I have said unto her, this is my kindness which thou shalt show unto me at every place whither we shall come. Say of me, he is my brother. And Abimelech took sheep and oxen and manservants and womenservants and gave them unto Abraham and restored him Sarah his wife.
That's right. So he got increased even more, right? He got more wealth and more servants unto him. Okay, and that's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. But like when you compare this story to when Isaac comes on the scene, Abimelech questions how Isaac comes into the land when he has Rebekah, right? So you know, when you get the passage, and we're not going to go into it because it's a lot, right? But Isaac almost fell into the same thing, but he didn't. He actually just was straight up about it, because Abimelech remembered who he is, you know, or who his father was, and who Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is, and was dealing with him, right? It's similar. Anyway, is there more on that? No. Okay, can you get Genesis 25th chapter? Or if you had any, you can get actually Genesis 27 and oh yeah, you can get into 27 and 20.
Okay. Genesis chapter 27 verse 20. And Isaac said unto his son, how is it that thou hast found it so quickly, my son? And he said, because the Lord thy power brought it to me. And Isaac said unto Jacob.
And that wasn't a lie, by the way. It's the truth, because his mom set it up.
Yeah.
So she did brought the meat to him.
Yeah. And my son, and he said, because the Lord thy power brought it to me. And Isaac said unto Jacob, come near.
You see the characteristic of Jake? Jake didn't lie. You know, he supplanted you. He just used the speech. He just answered you and gave you a general answer. That's how Jake is, man. If you know how Jake can move, right? But that's some serious stuff. You know?
It says, and Isaac said unto Jacob, come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not.
Yeah, because he wasn't persuaded in his mind, man. Because he was blind, so now he has to go back to his other senses that are heightened, which is touch, right? So now he has to feel it because he wants proof. Remember, our forefathers, they were men of understanding, man. They weren't gullible like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Even when they were old in age, man.
So, verse 22. And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him, and said, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau.
Okay, right.
And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy as his brother Esau's hands.
That's right.
So he blessed him. And And he said, Art thou my very son, Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may be blessed. Bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat and beef, and he brought him wine and drank, and he drank. Verse 26. And his father Isaac said unto him, Come near now and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelt the smell of the remnant, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is the smell of a field which the Lord has blessed.
And that's exactly how these Edomites smell, man. They smell like, what's a common thing? Wet dog.
Yeah.
They smell like of the earth, man. Field.
Stink.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a farm animal. Farm. Yeah, it's true. Like animal outside. Yeah. So like smell like water.
Job 30, they braid like horses. Same thing. They're animals, man.
It's true. It says, listen, 28. Therefore Yahweh give thee of the dew of the heaven, and of the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over by thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee.
And ultimately that represents the kingdom that we're about to receive real soon. All nations are going to be subject unto us. We're going to have slaves. We're going to own everything.
That's right.
Okay, and the next rulers ain't going to be the Chinese. Okay, as far-fetched as that sounds, man.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
the Chinese, man, they're following the same ways as the so-called white man.
That's right.
Which is destruction.
That's right.
That's why they're building up mega cities, which nobody's inhabiting. Right? They're gonna go bankrupt real soon because you're following a debt-based system.
That's right.
So you're gonna fall, man. Like how America's falling right now. Keep going.
It says, let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee.
That's right.
Cursed be everyone that curseth thee.
No recording.
And
Take a
blessed
picture
be
of the sun.
he that blessed thee.
You take a picture of that.
And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessings, Jacob and Jacob was yet scarce gone out of from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting, and he also had made savory meat and brought it unto his father.
So here it is. The Lord made Esau do all that work. You know, he came out the field, the hunt and all that shit, thinking that he's gonna get a blessing, and now he's gonna come to realize he ain't gonna get shit except a curse. Right? That's how dangerous the Lord is, man.
And said unto his father, Salakia. And he also made savory meat and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, Let thy father arise and eat of his son's venison.
And you know, this proves, when you read this and you think about it, it shows that Esau, he knows what to do and how to cook. He knows the laws, man. Because before this, the first time he got supplanted, he ate him, he sold his soul for a morsel of meat, uncooked. So he knows that food has to be cooked, and there's practices and laws, man.
That's right.
But he only does that so he can get a blessing, man. So it can satisfy his own fucking gain, man. His needs. Right?
Hey, let me get this. This is Zephaniah 2:9. Therefore, as I live, said the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, surely Moab shall be as Sodom, and the children of Ammon as Gomorrah. Wow. Even the breeding of nettles and salt pits and the perpetual desolation. The residue of my people shall spoil them, and the remnant of my people shall possess them.
That's right.
So they're gonna be like dung. Basically, they're gonna be like sand, like dirt, like dust. Like they're gonna get exterminated, man. Those fucking
not Moab.
not. At that time, they're gonna get. I know they're gonna get thing, but Moab's gonna get a big judgment, man. They're gonna be like Sodom and Gomorrah. What happened in Sodom and Gomorrah, man? That place turned to salt.
Verse 10. This shall they have for their pride, because they have reapproached and magnified themselves
against the people of the Lord.
That's right. And just like when David, right, when he took over Moab, right, and the Moabite king, the princes were envious about that, right? But then when he died, and when the king of Moab died, the princes came up and they're like, oh, this was King David, you know, he oppressed our land, so we're gonna try and go and oppress them now, because they remembered it through their pride, man. You know, and they still have that same hatred today against you tribes. They remember, man, a lot of these Moabites, they know who you Israelites are.
They know big time.
The Lord of hosts, verse 11, the Lord will be terrible unto them, for he will famish all the gods of the earth, and men shall worship him, every one from his place, so even all the isles of the heathen.
So every heathen is going to worship the Lord in that day, man.
That's right.
Okay, and we're going to be the taskmasters over you as well. And then we're going to set up other taskmasters too. But we're going to be those main taskmasters that are going to be on your ass to serve the Lord.
That's right.
Because we ain't going to go off. We're going to have the laws written in our mind, pursuant to Hebrews the 8th chapter, man.
That's right. And Isaac is that was
yeah, come.
And verse 32 it says, and Isaac his father said unto him, who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, who? Where is he that has taken venison and brought it to me, and have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him? He shall be blessed. That's right. So I'm saying the first one, which is Jacob, shall be blessed.
And that was all set up in the spirit, right?
Yep.
That was all set up for Jacob to get the blessing. So the Lord, he can bend the rules if he wants, right? Because a lot of people, when they read this, they'll be like, "That's not fair." Well, it doesn't matter. It's what the Lord wants. He's the King of all. Okay.
Well, when people ask for John 3:16, all you got to do is go to that blessing right there.
That's right.
Because how's everybody equal when you have a blessing going to the seed of Israel? That doesn't make any sense. The elder shall serve the elder.
That's right.
Verse 35. And he said, thy brother came with subtlety and has taken away thy blessing. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob?
And that's how you got to be with Esau as well, because it said that he came with subtlety, right?
Yeah, subtlety.
Right, and that shows that we're serpents as well, man. Okay, and that's what a serpent is. It's very subtle, it's very cunning, and it gets what it wants. Okay, and that's the men of the Lord. You have to be like that in this society, right? You gotta be.
What did the Lord say? He said, "Wise
as a serpent and harmless as a dove." Right?
That's why Esau uses the serpent as one of his symbols, man. Because the serpent represents wisdom, man. Remember, the serpent represents wisdom to Esau, man. Because they believe the serpent gave them wisdom in the garden. Right? So the serpent is actually the creature, the serpent, is actually a very patient animal, man. He's a very cunning hunter, man.
Real quick, I'm glad the brother brought that up because, yeah, this is the red serpent, but we're supposed to be the golden serpent, right? Just like the serpent that Moses lifted up in the wilderness was the golden serpent that represents Yahushua. And when you go back into the sacrificial understanding that the activities of the daily service of the temple, the censer was brass. And on the Day of Atonement, the censer was a golden censer. And when you look at the symbology, it goes back to these serpents, right?
All it is, without getting too complicated, is just the left and right hand sides.
Yeah,
right? Because you have a serpent, just like a dog, right? You have a dog can be used as a term of disrespect. Right? You call someone a dog, and they automatically think like a barbarian, you know. But at the same time, Caleb in the scriptures, his name meant dog. So on the right hand side, it meant what? He's loyal, right? A dog is always loyal to his master, right? He does everything the master asks. A scout, right? And that's what he was. He was one of the spies. You know? And then the serpent, what the brother read, I got a quick precept. This is John 3 and 14. And it says, and as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so the Son, it's like even so must the Son of Man be lifted up. Right? Which is the Lord.
Right.
So that's showing you that it's just a balance, man.
Right.
Right? Like when Esau came, right, the tribes called him what? Fork tongue. A serpent says one thing and does another. But what the brother's reading is on the right hand side. We get supplant.
That's right.
Which the word supplant just means to overthrow.
That's right.
Right?
Which is exactly how a snake attacks. You think he's backing up. Before he strikes, you think he's actually backing up, but he's not backing up.
Verse 36.
And what do venomous snakes do? They spit in your eye first. they distract you, they blind you first, and then they attack.
Actually,
those ones are the deadly ones.
32, because they're going into a serpent, right? So we're gonna just go into that. Esau, right? About a venomous snake, because this place that we live in is very poisonous.
That's right. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 32. For their vine is of the vine of Sodom and of the fields of Gomorrah.
Yeah.
Their grapes are grapes of gall, and their clusters are bitter.
So they're not doing anything new, okay, in this society when it comes to legalizing gay marriage and creating LGBT rights, because that action goes back to Sodom and Gomorrah. They're just following that old custom that they did, right?
Their wine is the poison of dragons.
That's right. Their wine is the poison of dragons, and a dragon is synonymous for a serpent, right? And it's very cruel, right? And the poison represents the philosophies of this place, or that they push upon the people, which is like feminism. Let's briefly just say them. Homosexuality.
Equal rights.
Equal rights, which being equal to someone doesn't equate to justice.
That's right.
Okay, it just lowers the vibration of the two parties, man.
Exactly.
Right. So basically, it's all deception.
God.
It says, verse 34. Is not this laid up in store with me and sealed up among my treasures?
That was it.
No. Yeah. Actually, Salakia. Verse 33. Their wine is the poison of dragons and cruel venom of asps. Is not this laid up in store with me and sealed up among my treasures? But to me belong vengeance and recompense. Their foot shall slide in due time.
That's right.
For the day of their calamity is at the hand, and the things that shall come upon them make haste.
And that's his due time. So that means prophecy has to be fulfilled. Going back to Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, man. Though it tarry, wait for it. Because due time, this whole society is going to fall and collapse. So basically, if you go back into Psalms 9 and 15, they'll tell you the heathen nations, you're going to get it? They have sunken themselves in a pit or a net, right? And that's the system they have set up. Like the picture that we just saw, the beast system of the lady riding that dragon, right? The NATO and the EU and all those things they have set up, and what legislations those organizations push. All of that's gonna fall, man, and it's gonna trap a lot of you people. Okay, because what's a part of that? The RFID chip, right, which is a branding. Okay.
Sure. It says, Psalms chapter 9 verse 15. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made. In the net which they hid is their own foot taken.
That's right. So you're gonna get trapped in your own web because you don't have the oil like a spider, right? You don't have the real oil like a true spider. Basically, you don't have the oil of righteousness. Okay, and that's why you're going to get trapped. Because this place for sin is designed to fall. It's only designed to go so far. Right? And that includes all you other nations, like we were talking about Moab, how they're going to be as Sodom. You're all going to be a part of that fall. Because guess who you have to meet? You're going to have to meet Yahweh in the valley of decision.
That's
Because
right.
you're going to be judged for this, man.
That's right.
And the scripture says you're going to fall miserably. Okay?
Hey, but you know what's funny, man? Because this whole nation, America, Canada, is known as a credit nation, right? Or nation of borrowers, as CBC termed it, right? And debt owners. The word credit means to believe. So at the end of the day, you people, who are you believing in? You're not believing in the Most High. That's right. Your foundation is a man who thinks he's the Most High, right? So when you deal with this whole system, see, look, Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah. This is what people, that's some fearless lives forever. Wow. And who are they fearless of? Supposedly the Most High. Because you people are godless. You're fearless for the Most High. And that's why that's one reason it's coming back. Right? It's to humble you people. That's right. But back to the point of who you lean on, you lean on a man.
That's right.
That's why you're gonna fall. You believe in this whole, you have credit unions, man. Right? Everything is off credit. Belief. Right? But everything's gonna fall, man.
That's right.
Because it's not on sure ground, so to speak. The Most High deals with weights, just balances.
Right.
But what does the so-called white man do? He creates something that's not even real.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not even on a periodic timetable, man. It's a damn paper note, Federal Reserve note, or a Bank of Canada note. Right?
Says verse 16, the Lord is known by the judgment which he executed. The wicked is a snare in the work of his own hands.
Hey, so like I gotta make this point, because it said the Most High is known in the judgment. Nowadays, when judgment happens, you people don't even think of the Lord, man.
That's true.
You guys are thinking of Hurricane Michael. You guys are giving the Most High's power carnal names, man. You know, carnal entities and all this shit. Right? When the Lord does earthquakes, you don't think it's that. You just think it's a natural disaster.
And gave it women names. A lot of them are women names.
Mother Nature, right?
That's right.
It says, Hagin Sila, verse 17, the wicked shall be turned into hell, and all nations that forget it, Yahweh.
So that's not talking about going in hell. That just means your state that you're going to be in.
That's right.
Because right now, you other nations are living good. You're in your heaven. So you're going to be brought to hell.
That's right.
Which means suffering.
Yeah, low state. For the needy shall not away be forgotten, for the expectation of the poor shall not perish forever.
And that's the elect, right? Because we don't have nothing in this world. You know, some of our people, they don't even have an identity. Like, we have it, but we're not being labeled as who we are in the society. We're still being denied our heritage, man. Right? We can't even practice the laws fully. So we need that happened this week, right? I heard. I think it was in Delaware. Jake got hung. Right?
Yeah, kind of. You know, the black activist woman.
What we're doing is actually illegal. We're practicing anti-Semitism. They call us anti-Semites, right? So what we're doing right now is actually illegal, because they say that we're coming against the so-called Jews. Yeah, defamation, all that bullshit. That's right.
It says, verse 19, arise, O Lord, let man prevail, let the heathens be judged in thy sight. Put them in fear, O Lord.
And they will be judged in sight, because going into the Apocrypha, 2nd Ezra chapter 13, Yahweh Shai's return, it says that he's going to crack them skies and hover over those waters. And then he's going to come back with a strong countenance. And the people will be sore afraid, man.
That's right.
So you will be judged in the sight of the Lord.
Right on sight. Perish.
Hey, it's like this show, man, I'm watching called Fargo. And in season 2, this big fucking massacre was happening. And then a chariot came. And then at the end, at the end, the police guy told the other police, "Don't put that in the report."
Oh no.
He's like, "Don't put that in the report. We're gonna leave that one out."
And that's what they do for real. That's what they do for real when they're doing their investigations.
Forger of lies. This place,
It says, "Put them in fear, O Lord, that the nations may know themselves to be but men."
Yeah, you're gonna realize you're just men.
Not God, man.
Exactly. And the scripture says, "Why is ashes proud?"
Yeah, God.
'Cause that's all you are. You die. You know, you get a big car, a big loan, big house, eat some pork and shrimp, get diabetes, and die. That's all you people do. You're not a God.
Hey, God's a lifestyle, man. Something that they can't do.
Yeah, like the brother said, God, it's a lifestyle. God is a lifestyle, right? And it says the scriptures is life. Going back Psalms 119, right? How the scriptures is life. It's like honey. It's like all these things. And when you look at those ingredients that the Lord is putting together, those things energize you in the body. It makes you live. It makes you feel good.
Yo, what the fuck? See that?
Any other? You don't have anything else, right? All right, so then we'll move into something else now. Okay. You get James chapter 5 then? Because the elder brought out a good point, right? About credit, which means to believe, right? We're going to show how these elites, they're going to lose everything. You know, that money that they believe in, right? Good chapter as well as Hebrews, the 11th chapter, about faith, which is credit, belief as well. You know, and that's what a lot of our people they lack. They lack belief. They lack faith. They really lack the Lord, because the Lord is a power that believes. He has faith, and who does he believe in? Himself.
That's right.
So if you believe in him, you can do fucking anything, man.
That's right.
Well, really, what the elites are going to get is Obadiah 1, where it says that they shall narrowly look upon thee, man. Right? Why? Because people are going to lose the faith in the so-called Edomites, man. In the so-called white man who are the Edomites.
James chapter 5 verse 1, it says, "Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten."
And this is showing you that they're caught in their own net, just like what we read in Psalms. That's when they're going to realize that their plan didn't work. And that's when they're going to weep and howl, man. Because they're going to realize that new world order that they're going to bring in isn't gonna work, because Yahushua is blocking it, man. Right?
It says, verse 3, "Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be witness against you, and shall eat your flesh."
And why? Because everything that you got in this society or throughout the ages was by fraud. So it's not legitimate. You haven't condoned legitimate business, Esau, which goes back to your blessing, which you're going to live by the sword, which means when you're living good, everybody suffers. That's what it means when you live by the sword and you prosper. Okay, and that's exactly what's taking place right now. You have a 1% that owns trillions of dollars, and then everybody else is broke and barely getting by, man. Right? So you have to pay for that. You elites, you international bankers, and also you other proud Edomites walking around here, man.
That's right. It says, "And shall eat your flesh as it were fire, and yea, have heaped treasures together for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers."
So the reason why the Rothschild was rich, you know, they heaped up treasures to give it back to us. Okay, so you're just basically a custodian of our riches right now.
That's right.
And really, you don't know what to do with it, because why? You don't have the Spirit of the Lord to increase you with that spiritual power to actually use your money in a righteous way.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. It says, verse 4, behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud.
See, there it goes. It says fraud, because slavery was very fraudulent. Even though that was our punishment, right? But then you forward the affliction, and then you put more hell on us, man. So that's fraud, right? Right? This system is based upon credit, debt, loans, right? And usury.
That's right.
Okay. You know, I'm not really an economist, right? But I know certain things about it. Other brothers are really good at it, and they can dust. You know, they can explain it way better than how I can.
Right? A few seconds. Yeah. This is Proverbs 22. Proverbs 22 and verse 7. It says, "The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender." Yeah, basically, what the brother's saying, there's a at the top when you go is an oligarch, which is a few men that control everything, right? You got the you have the three capitals of the elites, which is Washington D.C., the inner city, London, the inner city, and the Vatican, right? Each three, they have their own designations, but London is the financial capital, right? And they dictate the stock market, you know, what they want up, what they want down. If they want to crash, they can set it up, man.
Crash and take all that money.
Because that's what they did in with the Rothschilds and I think it was the American Revolution, right? I forget the details, but they lied to everybody to drop their funds, and they bought it up for pennies on the market, on the dollar. And then by the time everyone found out, because you didn't have CNN back then or Twitter, everyone found out that was a fake message. They just reaped all the rewards.
That's right.
So they play with it, man, because they control it, right?
Play their hands. It says, which is of you kept back by fraud.
They did the same thing for 9/11.
Even what was it? 2002 when the blackout happened, they did it then too. When all those people, their money got messed up in the banks when it crashed, when it all went down. A lot of people missed their